Hello, and welcome to Next Up with Naming St. Louis. I'm your host, Will Houston. I'm the Marketing and Technology Chair of Naming St. Louis. And on this podcast, we're here to explore the stories, experiences, and insights of dynamic professionals making strides in their careers. We'll be speaking with those who are on a journey of growth and advancement. Our goal is to inspire, inform, and connect you with incredible talent shaping the future of the communications industry. Thank you for joining us today. Let's introduce our next guest. Our guest today is Nicole Howard. Nicole is a multifaceted paralegal professional with over 20 years of expertise spanning intellectual property management, music copyright, digital content rights, and contract negotiation. Currently, she works with a powerhouse multi-regional team supporting major network brands you know and love, including TNT, TBS, TCM, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and Discovery. She has been right at the center of the industry's shift into streaming, playing a key role in the launching and ongoing operations of HBO Max, Discovery Plus, and the Max streaming platforms. Her specialized work in rights clearance and contract analysis ensures that top-tier content successfully reaches audiences worldwide. But Nicole's passion for innovation and impact extends far beyond the entertainment industry. She is also a certified personal development consultant and the founder of Flow Life Solutions. Through her company, Nicole uses principles of quantum human design to provide individuals and organizations with a personalized roadmap to self-development. Whether she is leading interactive corporate workshops to enhance team dynamics or guiding individuals through personalized coaching, she helps people align their careers, relationships, and lifestyles with how they are naturally wired to operate. She also shares her deep insights on personal alignment through her Substack, Deep Voices, Higher Calling. We are so excited to have her extensive knowledge, leadership, and unique perspective with us today. Welcome to the show, Nikki. Can you just start off by just giving us a little introduction of yourself?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So again, Nikki Howard. I live in Atlanta. I'm a director of global rights management in the media industry with television and film and navigating the wonderful world of rights management and how we put film on television.
Nice, nice. So that's a special place to be these days, right? There's all these different streaming services and I mean, of course, everybody has something in their binge watching and things like that. And everybody kind of only sees what happens on the front end of things, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I see my show. That's my show. I like it. But there's all these other things in the background that nobody ever thinks about. Um, so
Right.
just to start off, I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about, how you kind of got into this, you know, where you started in your corporate evolution, sort of where you started it and kind of how you got to where you are now.
Hmm. So interestingly enough, when people ask me that question, always tell the story about how when I was younger, I used to um, I love music. Like
Mm,
music has been one of the things I love dearly ever since I was little. And
hmm.
so I remember I used to read the credits in the album covers,
Yeah,
right? And I was always looking at, things like ASCAP, BMI, and the different recording studios.
yeah,
And so when I came to Atlanta, I kind of felt like, okay, I want to do something in the music industry or, something like that. And I ended up getting an interview, working with Turner Broadcasting in their music business affairs department.
yeah.
And so just being able to naturally tell that story,
Right.
kind of just like landed me, in a place that felt where I could learn a lot and just like really put my intellectual curiosity into a job. So
Yeah.
I get to learn and I get to do the job and learn at the same time and be on the like on the business side of something creative. Because, when you have creative tendencies, sometimes you could be a little, a little afraid to just like get out there and put
Yeah.
your whole life, like think you could take care of your whole life on
Yeah.
being creative.
Yeah.
So being able to find, something to do on the business side of that was
Mhm.
pretty cool to me.
Nice, nice. And no,
Mhm.
you're so right. So many people, even including myself, where it's like, there was a time when I was younger and I was like, yeah, when I grow up, I want to be a rapper. And it's like, okay, not everybody's gonna get to be on stage, but there are so
Right.
many different things that you can do along that business. It's a whole business, right? And so I'm glad that you were able to find your way in that jungle of what it could be, especially in places, that are such a big musical hubs like Atlanta. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What was it difficult, being in a place that's so surrounded by, creatives and music business? How was that for you?
Well, it wasn't okay. First, I'm gonna have to age myself. Oh, I don't even want to tell the story. Because so no, when I first moved to Atlanta, I literally had like a yellow pages
Oh
book.
yeah.
And I
No
was just
worry.
looking up
It
recording studios and
Yeah,
calling them and like
yeah,
sending resumes and stuff like that.
right.
But no, it like I think by the time like when I was first getting started working, I wasn't really out like in the industry trying to
Hmm.
find things.
Hmm.
I mean, literally, it was someone recommended a temp service that was hiring for a
Oh,
Turner.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
And so it just kind of landed.
And yeah, it's like sometimes those things are put in front of you and you don't, if it's like if I'd have planned this all out myself, I'd have messed it up. But sometimes those things fall in line for you.
Right.
And so you started off then with Turner
Hmm.
and and you're still with Turner now, correct?
The new form of it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so much change. Well, yeah, let's actually talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit. And I know
Hmm.
that I'm not sure how much stuff is still up in the air or what you can and can't talk about, but
Hmm.
um can you tell me a little bit about, the changes that you've seen in the industry, right? We don't have to talk about
Hmm.
dates and times and things like that, but you have seen the industry evolve. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. Because I've been through all of the mergers. I think when I first started, it might have been 6 months in when it was, AOL, then Time Warner.
Hmm.
Um, and then more recently, there was the AT&T and T and
Hmm.
then Discovery. But I would say that these last 10 years,
Hmm.
well, really the last 5 to 6 years has been
Yeah.
the most rapid change. Like we're used to seeing the changes, but I feel like the changes have happened so quickly
Hmm.
for an extended amount of time before you could really just like, okay, let me get my bearings straight. And then you
Hmm.
think you're straight, and then it's like another shift. But um, I'm what I'm seeing like it's not specific to this industry, or this company or this industry. I'm seeing it happen like all over the place.
It's
So
so true. So true.
yeah, so it's a lot shaking.
Yeah. I think that, sometimes it's scary, right? But I do think that sometimes, maybe this is just me being an optimist, but I do think that sometimes when things are shaken up like this, it allows for, people to grow, right?
Hmm.
It allows for people to grow. Sometimes it evens the playing field as well, right? So things that where people have been um, legacy uh leaders of things, right? Or people who have kind of cemented themselves in particular places. What happens is when there are these kind of shakeups, it moves that cement around a little bit and allows other people to come up to the top,
Yeah,
right? And so,
that's exactly true.
yeah. So I'm hoping to be on one of those waves somewhere. Hopefully you are too.
Yeah, yeah.
So you didn't always start off, kind of in a position you're in, right? Which first, before we get too much into that, what position are you kind of in now, with what you do?
So I'm in a director role for, like I said, global, so rights management. So we
Hmm.
manage rights. Like I said, I started in the music business affairs, which was more dealing with keeping track of the music
Hmm.
that's used on the TV shows. So like
Hmm.
the music on CNN, the music you probably don't pay attention, the open and close
Mm,
music,
right.
even when James L. Jones would say, "This is CNN." Like
Wow, yeah.
all of those things had to be reported to music publishing, music rights societies.
Wow.
So yeah, so all music usage has to be reported so that all the publishers could get their, their performance rights
Hmm.
royalties.
Hmm.
So then, moving around in that area itself, learning more about how we, commission music, get composers, to do music for the programs, how we license music. Then you have like music libraries, what they call a music production library
Mm,
house where they just make music
yeah.
and you pay them like a license fee and you have access to this music to put into your productions.
Hmm.
But then as the technology started evolving, and this is like even from cable, not
Right.
even internet yet, but when they started putting video, it wasn't video, yeah, video on demand when you can look at your
Mhm.
shows on demand.
Right.
Um, Going back and looking at the contracts and the rights that we had and being able to evaluate whether we had the rights to be able to expand into all these different media platforms.
Mm,
So then when internet came in, that added another layer to it.
right.
Then it got kind of complicated.
Yeah.
And so that just naturally evolved to me moving into that, what we called digital rights at the time, to a whole different department because now we needed a team to manage a system to be able to keep all of these rights information so that, you know, our teams will be able to have easy access to it so that we can answer questions as you got sales teams like where can we make money with this content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it just kind of have it has been evolving from there, just being in that digital rights space.
Nice. Nice. So
Hmm.
that's really cool. And so when you first started off, right, just to backtrack just a little bit, when you first started off, you said you got a temp job. What was your temp job? What did you do?
The temp job, I was a receptionist actually on
Yeah.
Ted Turner's floor.
That's crazy. That's Wow. That's crazy.
So I kind of started at the top.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's like, it's like what you
Yeah,
were doing wasn't the director, but you still were
right.
you were in the
Yeah.
building.
No, yeah, I was a receptionist on what they call the executive floor.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
at the time, it was probably like 10 executives for the whole company that all worked on that floor.
Wow. Wow. I mean, right, because I mean Turner, that's him, right? That's who it is.
Yeah.
If he was on that floor, right, that's where you want to be. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. So you moved you kind of moved in with the temp position and then you got a foothold and now you're the director of global rights management. I mean, that's pretty amazing and I think it speaks to some of those for me, I'm a big proponent of because my story is similar, right? I started off just taking phone calls and have been able to kind of move my way through. But it all started with that first frontline job for me to give a chance for people to see, okay, this person is obviously intelligent, works hard, and I see so many people who have that,
Mhm.
and it seems like these days, like what you said, with all of the new technologies that are coming around, a lot of those frontline jobs are getting deleted, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and I think we'll miss out on a lot of human potential if we
Mhm.
don't kind of keep some of those around. So I wanted to specify that, and I kind of was probing to get that because I wanted to understand your experience with that and kind of hear how you got that started. And I think that to hear your process there, to now hear
Mhm.
what you do now, which is you know a huge piece of such a large company, I think that's
Mhm.
amazing. I think that's amazing.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so just to segue a little bit, you talked we kind of got into this a little bit because you were talking about your love for music, right? And
Mhm.
and just sort of how uh especially in a place like Atlanta, there's so many organizations and so many great, music organizations and things like that. Did you initially when you started thinking about the music part about that, um can you tell me initially how you saw sort of the monetization of talent, and just sort of what were some of the things that you learned, misconceptions or things that you found were absolutely true that people were saying about sort of the business? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
About the music business?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Or music, not just music, but just entertainment in general, not just music.
Entertainment.
Hmm.
Well, so I don't know if this relates to exactly what you're asking, but I remember when I started meeting people
Hmm.
in the industry and I would like know somebody who worked for a record company, like worked for So So Def. And I'm like, oh, it seems
Mm.
like it would be cool to work for So So Def.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, how can I get a job here? And they're
Hmm.
like, girl, you work for Turner, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it was kind of like the misconception that, some of the more popular,
Mhm.
um, things were I mean, it looked flashy, but I don't
Yeah,
know how lucrative or stress, what the stress levels might have
yeah,
been. And
yeah.
then, I mean, look, I don't know. You look at some of the stuff that's coming out on the news
Oh my goodness.
now, and you were like,
Oh,
man, had I been working for Bad Boy somewhere,
yeah, you dodged a bullet. You dodged a bullet.
you know.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I don't think these people have been held too accountable for
Yeah. No, it's scary. It's scary. No,
yeah,
you're
yeah. So
100%
we have
right.
a lot of protections in corporate.
N- And that's the thing. You don't think about that, right? It's like a lot of those companies, they're startups, right? And so there's no HR, right? There's none of that other stuff that actually
Mhm.
goes with that. And
Mhm.
so it's like, okay, I do love the entertainment industry and I want to be in it, but
Mhm.
to your point, right? It's like, is there a way for me to get my foot in the door in a place where, like you said, you have some of that corporate safety, right? You don't have to kind of worry
Mhm.
about certain things. I think that's smart. I think that's very smart. And and even with that, so even with like places like Turner, right, larger companies, some of what you do seems sort of like the Wild West when it comes to the internet and digital
Mhm.
rights and who
Mhm.
owns IP for this and that. Can you tell me sort of and even more, I was gonna say the obstacle of just the internet, but have you been dealing with any of the AI stuff too, right? Have you been dealing
Mhm.
with like some of the rights things that go into that?
So we haven't really gotten into AI
Hmm.
as it relates to rights. We're just at the beginning
Mm, yeah.
of exploring that. And so even with internet, like when we first started, when you say internet rights, you think, oh, internet rights, yes or no.
Yeah.
But it was never that simple.
No.
Like it was like internet rights, yes or no. So we figure we have internet rights. We should be able to do anything related to streaming with that. But you're looking at technology, right?
Mhm.
And you're looking at a business model.
Right. Right.
So those two things are separate.
Mhm.
And then you have every time the technology advances, every time the platforms advance, you have to make some type of provision in the system that you're
Mhm.
using
Right.
to kind of make, you know, provision to capture those little nuances of what you can and cannot do with that. So
Yeah.
internet was never just internet. It was, first it was internet and wireless, and then
Right.
it's over the top, your over the top set top box. And then you
Right.
got the street, it's just all these different variances of what is just not a cable, like a cable line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just trying to keep up with all the terminology and the different ways. And now there's like another uh one called
Hmm.
Fast TV, which is free advertiser supported streaming, but it's like free TV. So it's
Mm,
just like if you had no cable and you're just watching TV, but
right.
it's digital. And so
Uh,
people are now just standing up their own networks on TV on the internet.
Interesting. That's wild. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and and that still takes them going out and actually getting, license deals for the content that they put on there, but it's just so many different things. And what I think is happening, like we talked about, just the shifts in the industry period,
Mhm.
what I'm thinking is happening is that the innovation has probably gotten too far away from us. Like
Yeah.
it's cool as we're creating and being innovative and creating all these different opportunities, but I
Right.
think now we're at the point where it's so scattered
Hmm.
that it's creating friction even with consumers.
Yeah.
And so it feels like now all the companies are just trying to reel it back in.
Yeah. So too many little worlds, right? Too many
Right.
things to keep up with. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean that's super interesting because, I just think that the world is like you said, I agree that the world is moving so fast. It's hard to keep up with the next innovation. And so that kind
Mhm.
of that kind of is going to segue me a little bit into sort of the next. part I want to kind of understand, with everything moving so fast and with you sort of, well, I mean, with you being a leader in this space, um, what do you find helps you stay kind of on the cutting edge? How do you kind of stay out there and sharp and knowing what's going on, so that you can then, branch that down or branch that off to the people who kind of work under you?
Well, it's mostly the people I work with. I
Hmm.
think all the teams, we all always
Hmm.
kind of like have to have our heads together,
Yeah. Yeah.
figuring the things out as we go.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I feel like I've appreciated the most about, the journey that I've had with the company is the relationship building.
Hmm.
And so just working with great people,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
there's no such thing. I love it. See, okay, so I think part of the thing we haven't discussed is that I didn't follow a traditional education route,
Right.
right? So I didn't go straight to college. I did eventually get an associate's degree,
Hmm.
but those were some of the kinds of things that made me feel, a little doubtful sometimes,
Yeah.
as I'm navigating the space.
Yeah.
But being in this kind of field where everything's always changing, everything's new, everyone's
Hmm.
always learning,
Hmm.
kind of helped me feel a
Yeah.
little bit more comfortable because we're all learning together.
Exactly. It's like there's nobody who's here who knows exactly what's going on because we are all learning this right now. Every one of us.
Right. We're all
Yeah.
learning together.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what made me get into the legal field.
Mm.
This whole music, it started in the legal department.
Hmm.
And so I had heard somebody speak one time and she was saying, well, it was a lawyer,
Hmm.
and she was like, it's not about always having the answer. People think lawyers always know the answer, but it's a frame of the way that you think.
Mm.
It's how you think and how you frame questions to get the answer. So my natural curiosity and just always wanting to learn, I felt very much at play in place in that area of, well, I can formulate a good question.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Just learning how to formulate a good question
Hmm.
and always having an idea.
Yeah.
But where I had to grow in that space again was learning to share my ideas
Hmm.
because again, you think everybody around you knows everything,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
think everybody knows you think everybody knows everything,
Hmm.
and just really getting comfortable enough to share the idea, learning that that saying there's no such thing as a stupid question,
That's it. Yeah.
but feeling that, saying
Right.
that is one thing, but feeling that is a whole other thing.
So true. So true.
Right. And so just being able to feel comfortable enough to just, ask questions, learn together,
Hmm.
and keep things moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. So to delve into that a little bit more, right? There's the mindset, right? And I think that your mindset is great on this, right? It's just that, hey, listen, ask the question. Hey, now, mind you, don't just ask any question, right? Make sure it's a good question.
Hmm.
Make sure, well, not a good question. Make sure it's well put together question to get to where you want to go. But there's the other part of, right? Again, and in what you're doing, because technologies are changing so fast, there's your, like you mentioned, the intellectual curiosity, but then sometimes it's like, where do you find the time, right? Because you're a human being, right? Who does
Hmm.
human
Hmm.
being things, but then you also, right, you're working, you're doing all these different things. How do you find the time, and where do you find the time to kind of uh stay abreast of all of the different, especially when it comes to legal, right? Stay abreast of all the different things that you need to understand in order to ask the right question, in order to keep learning. How do you shape your time? How do you manage your schedule in order to kind of keep up with that?
Mm. Hmm. So one thing is I am an introvert.
Hmm. I got you.
So introverts, we spend a lot of the time in our inner terrain.
Hmm. Yes.
So I spend a lot of time, just in my mind, in my own space,
Hmm.
processing. So I'm always processing. No matter
Yes.
where I am, I'm processing something.
Yeah.
So there's the introversion is definitely a part of that.
Hmm.
Um, I've recently, I probably always had this, but I recently have implemented this thing called slow mornings.
Mm,
I take my time.
yeah.
I I add a hold a lot of value
Mhm.
to my mornings, and so
Yeah.
I do a lot of reading.
Yeah.
Um, I wake up early and I start reading.
Yeah.
And
Good.
one thing I'll say is smartphones has made it easier
Right. Right.
because we always have access to our phone. So
Hmm.
I'm usually always somewhere reading something,
Right. Right.
reading something.
Hmm.
And also, so I have an adult child. I have an adult child, so I'm
Hmm.
not actively, daily parenting. So I
Right.
have, a little extra time on
I was
my
gonna say I'm
hands.
trying to take some of the pressure off.
Right.
Yeah.
And then luckily, the job itself
Hmm.
kind of requires that I stay informed.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
there's always, industry trade articles coming in.
Hmm.
And I will say as well,
Hmm.
the company I work for, we have an amazing learning and development department.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Like they really, really kind of, I mean, I don't have a lot to compare it with because I
Right.
haven't,
Yeah.
worked a whole bunch of other places,
Yeah.
but I have myself have seen the improvement over
Mm.
the last few years. And I feel like it's pretty top tier. And I can speak to that because even having been there for so long, you would think that you have learned every framework, every, assessment
Hmm.
and, everything that they've been teaching in the corporate space all these years. And
Yeah.
sometimes they do recycle, some of those and you could easily try to dismiss it and be like, oh, I learned that already. But I've noticed that they do a really, really good job of making it relevant to
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
and adding new, aspects of it that really kind of refreshes it a lot. So
Nice.
I really appreciate that.
That's great. That's great. I mean, yeah, I think, having a company culture of continue learning really, even if you're a person who already is going to do that, having that as a culture really, helps you feel a little bit more at home at work, right? And
Yeah.
not having to try to implement all that stuff on your own, but knowing that as a part of my job, the people I report to know that I'm going to have to that I need to learn, right? They're not
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, I need this deadline." They know that I'm reading white papers, I'm reading legal documents, right? This is part of my job.
Hmm.
I think that's great. So I want to go back to something because this is going to segue me a little bit into the entrepreneurial part of you, right? And so you mentioned slow mornings, right? So you have an entrepreneurial organization called Flow Life Solutions, and it's sort of centered around human design. So
Hmm.
when I hear about you mention slow mornings and kind of waking up, and I don't know anything about this. All I do know, logically though, the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, if you're jumping up out of bed and rushing to get dressed to leave, that's probably not
Mm.
healthy.
Right.
So can you tell me a little bit about does that slow mornings thing that you do, is that something that you came up with just out of pure logic, or is it something that kind of goes along with your flow life solutions? Is it part of that human design that allows you to not only implement this in your own life, but also in your entrepreneurial life?
Hmm. Well, it's a kind of a mixture of both. I would say the way it's come up for me recently is that it's from a self-care place
Mm,
and wellness and thinking about, anxieties and all of those types of things to where was really just paying attention to what gets me to start buzzing, feeling that buzz
yeah.
of anxiety or things like that. And so just protecting this time
Hmm.
space of certain phone calls I'm not taking after 11
Right.
o'clock.
Yes,
I
yes.
would prefer not to be outside in Atlanta traffic,
Exactly.
early in the morning.
Hmm.
That would be my preference. But it's those types of things. It's like you have to protect a certain amount of space for yourself in
Yes.
order to even be able to function,
Right. Right.
and so it's part of what the flow life solutions, because that's the solution. That's a part of how you flow. How do you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
How do you manage your own energy?
Yeah.
And that has to become a priority because for so long we have made, work and all the external things, trying to put those things first and putting ourselves last. And I think we've
Yes.
seen, recently how that has affected our health,
Yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
kinds of things. And I think even since the pandemic,
Mhm.
people have just really started to take an account for their health, their
Yes.
mental health, their mindset, and just really starting to really put ourselves first.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I love that. So can you tell me a little bit more sort of the so just like so let's get into flow life, right? Can
Mhm.
can you tell me just sort of where it started? This is your entrepreneurial venture. So, how this became your child, where it started, and where you
Mhm.
kind of hope it goes to.
Right. So Flow Life Solutions, I started out doing photography.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And yeah, I started out doing photography. I'm kind of like I was a creative, right? So I was
Mhm.
like, oh, so am I gonna do photography? Am I gonna write a film? What am I
Yeah.
gonna do? And I was like, well, you probably just need to create an umbrella so that you can just
There you go. There you
kind
go.
of do all of the things. But what really, as I was on my own self-discovery journey, and one of the things that really helped me throughout this whole career, even like I said,
Hmm.
not having the traditional college education,
Hmm.
was me learning about me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I had become a fan of personality assessments.
Yeah.
Started out with Myers-Briggs, did DISC, the DISC
Yeah.
assessment,
Hmm.
and had kind of settled on Gallup strengths, strength finders.
Yeah.
And so I started getting certifications in, to do strength based because I was like, everybody needs to know, who they
Yeah.
are and what their
Yeah.
temperament is. Cause it literally, like, it really set me free because for
Yeah.
a while I was so unsure of what am I bringing to the table specifically,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so those things helped, but then I found human design, and then that
Mhm.
one just like went through the roof for me because it was so detailed in how you're literally wired and how
Mhm.
you're designed, and um speaking, giving you language for some of the things about yourself, the very unique things, the one thing that you're probably dismissing
Right. Right.
as the thing
Yeah. Yeah.
because you think, oh no, it's just that. No, it's really a big thing, and it describes it in a way that I'm like, really, I didn't think anybody else knew that,
Yeah.
you know?
So
And you're
true.
like, wow, so there's really a purpose for this. And then
Mhm.
um once I started really like digging into that, and then just sharing it with people and seeing how much it was helping other people and
Yeah. Yeah.
how much a difference it just makes to knowing enough about yourself to where you can start um aligning your life,
Yeah.
right? So you could look at the job and be like, oh, this fit, like, it's so frustrating, it's this and it's that, but
Mhm.
learning things about yourself, and now you can start making different adjustments. You may think you have to leave, but really you don't have to leave. You just have to adjust some things,
Right. Right.
about yourself
Yeah.
to be able to settle better
Yeah.
in an area.
Yeah. I mean, but the first step is knowing, right?
Yep.
You know,
Self-awareness is
exactly.
so huge. And I mean, it's it's a game changer for
Yeah.
real, for real.
And I love that about like people with that entrepreneurial spirit, where it's like, okay, I stumbled across this thing the other day, and I saw it, and it opened my eyes to something about myself. Am I am I the only person who this has ever happened? Right? And then you start thinking, you go a little deeper, like nobody knows about this. Like I need to do something about this, and boom. I think that
Mhm.
that self-startedness, that self-motivation, and that curiosity for life is really the thing that you kind of see across people who are entrepreneurs and decide to start organizations or start businesses, where it's like, I didn't know about this. How many people don't know about this? I need to do
Mhm.
something about that. It's just the kind of that natural step. And I think I
Yeah.
love seeing that. And I love hearing that story, especially, how you kind of got into doing that. And so before we do get out, I'll make sure I get that so we can make sure we plug you in the description and everything. But
Okay.
I want to ask you another question too.
Mhm.
Just looking over sort of your tenure from, starting in, I mean, you moved from, you talked about this a little bit, but you moved from New York to Atlanta, right? Which is a big, it's a big change culturally, right? And you did that, landed, which seems, I mean, it seems like you really actually landed on your feet once you got to Atlanta and landed on your feet with a job in a good corporation, a good organization, and then now you're a director, you're an entrepreneur. Looking back, if you could speak to, receptionist Nikki and say anything, or give her a piece of advice, what would you say?
Hmm. Um, what would I say? I would definitely tell her, you're gonna be here for a while. The money ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So you enjoy it
Mhm.
and invest some of it.
Yes,
So you
yes.
could be ready to leave at year 30, which I'm at now.
That's right. That's right.
But when you start things young
Mhm,
and you're just kind of in the winds of life, I was a young mother.
mhm, mhm.
Um, so and I kind like I'm from where I'm from, I just you just everybody wasn't taught everything. So
Yes.
you just living life and you're just getting through and all of that stuff. So I definitely probably would take some of a lot of what I know now and just impart that to her, just plan a little bit better.
Yeah.
But just, to remind her, you know, you're smart because you're smart.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because it's in your blueprint, it's in your
Mhm.
imprint,
Yeah. Yeah.
God made you that way, and not to doubt so much. We all have questions, but not to doubt so much.
Right. Right. Now, I love that. And I think you hit on something that's really important. It's something I try to do in my own entrepreneurial venture, which is, teach things to people that were not taught to me when I started,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And when I first, like, to your point, right, when I first started in the industry I'm in now, in telecom, I'm like, I just need a job. I'm not really thinking about so I didn't know about the 401k. Somebody had to tell me, hey, it looks like you haven't touched your 401k. I'm like, what's a 401k? Well, you have thousands of dollars saved up. You just aren't
Hmm.
we're matching you with this, and you're at this, you should do more, so it's up to at least the match. And
Right,
I'm like,
right.
I don't know
Hmm.
anything about any of this stuff, you
Right,
know.
right.
And then there's the other stuff which, and I don't, won't get too much in this, but I think there's some issues there gender wise that men don't necessarily look at, that women are very uh gifted at looking at, which is, how do I feel? Not
Hmm.
always, not
Hmm.
always, but like things like what you mentioned, like,
Hmm.
to your point, to this day, this morning, I did not take any time to slowly get out of bed. I jumped straight up because
Straight up.
I went to sleep late and I woke up late, and not late,
Hmm.
but just in time for me to get to work on time. And it's like,
Yeah.
how is that actually helping you health wise, right? So all these different things, I think our generation is starting to say, okay, let me really take inventory of this, and what can I do, to actually help the next generation not have to learn all this on their own. And
Right.
so I think that I just think it's admirable. And, like I said, I think I've been doing this podcast a while, and I've talked to you and I've talked to some other people, and it all seems to share that theme of, when I was starting out, I did not know this. And I do not want the next generation of people to have to deal with that the way I did. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I just see that across the board.
And even our own generation, because you'll be surprised at how many people, because we've been operating a certain way for so long,
Hmm.
that you have to remind people, hey, use your time off,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, you don't have to only, you don't have to be sick,
Yeah.
like sick,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
wait until you get sick.
Yeah.
But I even heard, I forgot who, I think it was someone probably in the company has said something
Hmm.
about mental health days,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making that normal and
Right.
not feeling like you have to run that race of, you know, we used to call it in school 100% attendance or whatever. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like you said though, that starts culturally then, right? Where it's like
hmm
if you get benefits for being here every day of school, even if you were sick and got everybody sick too, even if you were tired and
right.
you weren't up to all the way to your best self, right? It's like, yeah, it starts then.
Yep. So taking care. I mean, we are the like it's human resource. Like,
Yes.
we are a human
Literally, yeah.
resource. We're human. So we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. That's the biggest thing.
So true.
Um, I'll just add really quickly to the human design thing.
Hmm.
One of my passions was being able to bring it to the workspace.
Mm,
And recently, talking to the facilities, you
hmm.
know, people at my job, real because it is a part of human design that helps you to see what type of environment
Yes.
best supports your energy.
Yes.
And I was looking at the campus and I'm like, okay, so we have this, we have that. And then I had this conversation with him. So it's really about environment psychology
Yeah.
and understanding that different people need different things,
Right.
you know. And so now he's taken on this whole big thing to where now as they start redesigning areas on the campus where they're gonna name them because there's
Wow.
certain names for them. They're gonna
Yeah.
name them, and we're calling them energy zones so that people are aware
Yeah.
that you don't have to sit at your desk.
Yeah.
You can go over to this area,
Right.
where it better supports your energy. Or if you have like, they used to give offices only to certain levels.
Hmm.
But some people need that closed-in
Yeah.
space in order to work better.
Yeah.
It's better for their productivity. So really getting that awareness out
Hmm.
that it's not a level or position thing, it's a people thing.
Yes.
And just put the focus on the people so that you can get the best use out of your people.
Yes, exactly.
Not by force, but by flow.
Absolutely. Ooh, I like that. Not by force, but by flow. Okay. I like that. That might have to be the name of the episode. Not by force, but by flow. Good.
Exactly. And so
Good.
I'm very excited for that. To see, that we can start considering, people and we're individuals, and it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all that said, I think that I think we've had a great conversation, and I think that I've learned something, right? Like again, I got to come back to that part one more time. So you're not supposed to just like jump up out of bed and like rush to get to work every day. That's not what you're supposed.
Now you need a moment.
Okay, so if nothing else, right? Not that that was the only thing, but that's definitely one big thing I'm gonna take away from this. But but no, I think you've imparted a lot of really good gems. And so one thing I always like to ask is, what is something yourself that you enjoy, whether it's hiking, whether it's biking, whether it's podcast or specific. You say you read a lot. If there's a specific blog or book that kind of is a recurring piece that you always come back to, what's something that you kind of enjoy in your own personal life?
Well, I do like walking.
Mhm.
I live near Stone Mountain, so I go
Oh
to the
wow.
mountain a lot, and so
Yeah.
I love catching sunrises and sunsets. Um, it's never the same twice. Like
Nope. Nope. Never gets old.
always a different show, and I'm
Yeah.
always amazed.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Um, that and just, you know, life. I love entertainment. I love
Mhm.
going to concerts. I just saw
Mhm.
New Edition
Oh yeah. Yeah.
recently. The Michael Jackson movie is coming out.
Oh
So
yeah. Nice. Good taste
yeah.
in music. Good. Good.
Yep. All the things. And travel,
Yeah.
just seeing new things, learning new things.
Good. Good. That's great. You got any good travel spots coming up? Anything that you're thinking about for vacay?
Um, this year I don't. Hopefully, well, I'm trying to go to Martha's Vineyard.
Oh yeah. Yeah. See, I've never been. I hear it's off the hook, but I've
It's
never been.
it's a beautiful place. The vibe is beautiful. The food
Hmm.
is good. And again, to that whole um wellness piece, that was the first place that I had been on a vacation
Yeah.
where you can truly just let your guard down. They don't lock
Wow.
doors
Wow.
or
Yeah.
anything, and you can just really just let go. Because if
Yeah.
you, most of the time you're traveling, your head's still kind of on a swivel,
Exactly.
but this place is relax.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow. Okay. That's great. That's great. Well, Nikki, I think this has been a great conversation. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think that's it. Thank you so much.
No, this has been great. No, thank you. Thank you. Like I said, I don't know what anybody else is gonna get out of this, but I know what I got. So
I'm glad you did.
for sure. For sure. Oh, before you go, where can we find out more information about Flow Life Solutions and just sort of if people might want to potentially, patronize your business and talk to you more about that?
Okay, so the website is flowlifesolutions.com.
Hmm.
FLOWLIFE. Solutions. Yeah, flowlifesolutions.com.
Hmm.
And I don't know if your audience is aware of the platform Substack. I've just
Hmm.
started a Substack publication called Deep Voices Higher Calling. So I'll
Nice.
provide the links for those as well.
Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, Nikki. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Substack. I got a few subscribers. I add our subscription, so I'll definitely add you to that
Yeah.
on my side. So yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure speaking with you, and maybe we can even try to do this again sometime. But in the meantime, thank you, and we'll look forward to talking to you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you found it encouraging and insightful. With over 15 chapters nationwide, NAMIC is passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the communications industry, with a wider range of professional development opportunities, networking events, and leadership programs. NAMIC is dedicated to empowering multi-ethnic diversity in the media and communications industry. Members gain access to valuable resources, industry insight, and an incredible community of like-minded professionals. For more information, go to NAMIC.com or to the NAMIC St. Louis chapter at NAMICSt.Louis.com or LinkedIn at LinkedIn.com/NAMIC St. Louis. Thank you and have a wonderful month. See you next time.